Hey everybody, Thrift Store Hacker back again, and I did a little modification on my watering bucket here. As you can see, I put a water line going down to it, and in here is a float that when the float gets just high enough, it cuts off the water going to it. And I don't have a spigot for my front yard because the weather out here, it freezes, it breaks the spigot every couple of years, and it's just kind of not worth it since we didn't have plants in the yard until a couple of weeks ago. So I have my battery pack here, which has that big battery in it. I have an on and off switch, and then I have a control box for up to a 8 amp device. It's supposed to be for LEDs, but it works just fine on the electric pump that's in there. And the line comes out and goes up to the garden hose. I have the garden hose here. You can see I have that nozzle that I built on the end of it. So if I kick the system on, so you can see it's on, come out of the side yard here. I have my little remote that I wrapped in plastic so it doesn't get wet. But if I turn this on, it's got to catch up, it's got to fill the hose with water first. Then it comes on. And with the up and down, I can actually control the flow rate and turn it way down or all the way up to the maximum. Oh, that all just went wrong. Okay. But have the remote here. Off. On. Off. And since this was a 1/4-inch line is feeding this bucket here, and the only water I was available to get is the line that comes off my swamp cooler. So I interrupted that 1/4-inch line, put a T in it, and ran this over here, and it's got its own shutoff valve up at the top. But whenever I run the water down on this, it starts filling up automatically. And with the flow rate that I have this set to coming out of the pump, it actually really doesn't lose prime here in the tank. I turn it on and off as I'm watering, so it has a little bit of time to catch up each time, and you have to run it for a pretty decent amount of time before it actually empties out that. It's not exactly a 5-gallon bucket, it's like a 6 or a 7-gallon bucket, but until it empties that bucket, you'll hear the pump start cavitating, and then you just shut it off, and it takes about, I'd say it takes about 3 or 4 minutes for it to fill this tank back up. But anyway, that just came out brilliantly. And I can turn on and off the flow whenever I need to. We got the sunflowers coming up in the box here. Got some morning glories over here. And a windmill right here. This will be the next video. It's kind of interesting. We're not getting the voltage that we need out of this, but I'll explain that more in the next video. But that's all I have for you today. Until next time, build stuff and have fun.